Hello, everybody. Welcome back to On the Block, the show where we talk about Big Brother. I'm one of your hosts, Peter Slattery. This is Lewis Levy, the other
Yep.
host. And yeah, honestly, pretty uneventful week, pretty boring week, gotta be
I feel like
honest.
I'm like checking back into work. It's like, let me clock in to
Yeah,
see what's
this is the
happening.
part of Big Brother where it's kind of like we're just waiting for, like stuff to blow up, stuff to hit the fan, all
Yeah.
that stuff. So, but still some interesting things did happen this week, but we're kind of just stuck in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So, I guess the first thing we should talk about is just like the recap. So, kind of the main thing that sets up this whole entire week is kind of the flip vote that happened on Lyric. So, last week, Lyric went home against Melody, which was a flip, I believe, that happened by D.
D.
And this
Yeah.
caused a lot of confusion in the house because Kamu, Chuck, and Haley, kind of this trio, were not in on it, and they voted to vote out Melody, but
Yeah.
instead they should have voted out to keep Lyric, but they kept that a secret. And now you have the three of them running around. They're like chickens with their head cut off, running around trying to figure out who lied to who did this. So yeah, anything you want to say about that, Lewis?
I mean, I was just dying at Haley's face. She was
Oh
just
yeah,
like,
yeah. Haley had a pretty iconic reaction, which is
I thought that was
pretty
super
funny.
funny.
We
And
haven't seen
also,
that.
I think seeing Lyric, I was sad that Lyric win. Like, I was actually kind of rooting for her a little bit.
Mhm.
But after hearing her like eviction interview with Julie, she was totally gonna work with Chuck, Haley, Klamu. I think D made the right choice. And it's interesting. Like, she was so intuitive about like, yeah, Melody was a better option. And I think that was a better option for D's game.
Yeah, it's a shame that we weren't like able to do this last week because there's a lot of like juicy stuff and juicy details in there. But yeah, I personally was rooting for honestly all three of them that were up there. I would have been sad to see go,
Yeah.
but Lyric,
Yeah.
it did sting a little bit. I liked her as a player. But regardless, that kind of brings us into this week where out of nowhere, so the HOH this week
It's
was
the
the wall
wall.
comp,
Yeah.
which unfortunately Lewis missed. However, this was my
So
first time
sad.
watching the
Yeah.
wall comp live, and I
Yep.
had to say I was more interested in it than I thought I would. We kind of just put it on the TV. I was staying with some friends, and I was like, this is actually like really, really interesting.
Yeah.
And we saw all the players fall. For some reason, they cut the cameras after Angela fell, so I have no idea what they were doing there. But
They
I
were
am
probably filming like Haley speaking or something like that. Like,
yeah, something
yeah,
like that. But
something weird.
I'm on the East Coast, so for any East Coasters out there, you know that wall comp timing was
Yep.
horrendous. I think the cameras came on at about 1:50 in the morning, and it didn't end till 2:40, and they cut the cameras. So a couple highlights from
Crazy.
that. Drew's just amazing athleticism. I thought was cool. Him hanging on like with all his strength, trying to swing, trying to get his feet back on it, couldn't do it, so he fell. He got third. But what ended up happening was we had a really interesting scenario. We had Kamu and we had Lala. Now, honestly, between the two of them, I was kind of rooting for Kamu only because he said that he was going to turn on Chuck and Haley because he was convinced that they lied to him about the
Yeah.
previous vote and he was going to go after the vets. However, while he was trash talking Lala, he slips and falls. And out of
Oh,
nowhere, the oldest wall comp winner ever,
ever,
for I think
bro.
for a
Yeah.
female or ever, for
Oldest
so
person ever to win the wall
oldest
comp is
ever
her.
wins the World Cup.
Yeah.
Lala pulls the dub, and
Crazy.
she becomes HOH, and this kind of throws a wrench into everybody's game because everyone has kind of critiqued Lala being like she's not in the game, like she's
Yeah.
not here mentally.
Yeah.
So a little harsh probably, but yeah. This was a crazy out of nowhere win, and honestly, as fans, we're all like, I had no idea what she was going to do. Like, this is just so random. Like, we knew she wasn't going to put up Taylor, but anyone else is pretty much fair game. And she originally had a plan. Now, this is where I'm kind of foggy, but I think her and Taylor were kind of cooking up a plan, and they wanted to put up like Kamu, Chuck, and Barrett. I think
It was Calmu, Drew, and Barrett with a
Kamu
Haley
drew him. Yep.
four. And it
Mhm.
was interesting because I saw on feeds they originally actually weren't going to target Chuck. Like Chuck wasn't even a thought for them because it was there was from other reasons, I guess, that like they were on
Mhm.
the feeds and stuff, but that originally wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it was interesting after when I saw that Lala won, I was excited, but I was also nervous because I feel like she's an unpredictable player, and I think she's also someone that takes in heavily what people say to her. So it was almost like for me, it felt like Taylor's co-HOH in some ways.
Yeah. Like Taylor literally says in the episode, I'm playing for two. Like I'm playing for
Yeah,
Lala.
like
But
they're
however, that
together.
didn't matter because
No.
out of nowhere, Kamu's like, oh, I know I'm probably going to be on the block, so let me go at least talk to Lala.
Yeah.
When he talked to Lala, he completely got her to flip her entire plan. So instead
Which
of
I still don't know what happened. Peter,
yeah,
walk me through this. I didn't get to watch the episode. I didn't get to watch the feeds. How did Kamu convince Lala not to put him up? Like, what did he make a deal? Like, I still don't know.
I have no idea. To be honest with you,
Bro.
even watching the episode, it just seemed like she kind of did a 180 like flip. But from
Yeah.
what I understand, I think the point was that Kamu was saying that you're giving Haley and Chuck like I don't know like a chance to make it past in the game when he doesn't want to be aligned with them and he wants to flip and switch
Oh, I
things
see.
up. I think honestly what kind of held credence to it is that surprisingly Taylor and Kamu seem to be kind of like not like a duo per se, but
But
they
they're good
really
with
do
each
trust
other.
each
Yeah.
other. So they've
Yeah.
kind of like become more of like an alliance, like the beta or like beginning of an alliance between Taylor and Kamu. So
Hermes betas.
I feel like Lala was kind of like, well, if Taylor's good with Kamu, then I'm probably good with Kamu because
That makes sense.
why am
Okay.
I going to get my own
That makes
ally's
sense.
ally out? Like
I
that
get
doesn't
it.
make any sense.
Okay. That
And
makes
from
sense.
Kamu's perspective, like I said, he's kind of been like whiplashed and like played till Sunday here because Kamu still thinks that Chuck and Haley lied to him. Meanwhile, it's still all the vets. So, needless to say, at this point, the tool shed is pretty much dead. The red
Oh
corner
yeah,
is
that's not
pretty
a
much
thing.
dead.
Right.
Um, and Kamu turns the tables and tries and he pitches correctly, and Lala goes with it.
Great
And
move by him. Yeah, that's
The
impressive.
Noms turned into Chuck, Haley, and Barrett. But I think we all know that Barrett, 99% sure, unless it's some crazy flip, he's staying.
Yeah.
So yeah, that brings us into the veto comp. And the veto comp, let me think. The veto, I just watched it last night.
It
What was
was
the
the
veto?
memory. It was
It was,
like
yeah, it was the memory
it
one.
was like head to head. It was
Oh, it was Keanu's "Do you ever prompt" one. So
yeah, yeah,
that was
yeah, yeah.
funny,
It was
and
that.
it's
It
kind
was
of
that.
foreshadowing it because this whole time Haley and Chuck are really hoping that Kamu wins because they say, "Oh, he's going to take one of us off."
Naturally, right? That's what
Yeah,
I would think too. That's like your closest ally who's not
yeah.
on the block. Yeah.
But what they don't realize is once Kamu wins this thing
Oh
and he quotes
God.
Keanu, which is kind of funny because it's both like a K and a U at the end.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
and he says like, I believe you have a prompt or
Oh,
whatever." He
so
gets the
funny.
veto and he like goes to Haley and Chuck and is like, "Listen, I don't think I'm gonna use it." And they're just completely backstabbed. They're completely like, "Why? I
What the
thought we were
hell?
good. I thought we were chill." And no, Kamu at the end of last night's episode decides, yeah, I'm not using it. So he does not use the veto, which is a complete shock. But for him, this is why this kind of goes into the predictions. I think aside from like a random person winning and putting him up as a challenge threat, I think he's in a good position in the game now because he's kind of divorcing himself from that group of three.
Yeah.
He's saying, "No, I'm not working with them anymore. I want to work with Lala. I want to work with Taylor specifically." And I think that there's some longevity there. And it seems like he's still close with D, even though the red corner's kind of dissolved
So
at this point.
yeah, D definitely. I saw this on the live feeds, like on Twitter. D smartly wants him in the game. It makes sense because that's a physical threat. That's someone that's good at competitions. That's someone that would be on the block with her, and I think that he would probably go instead of D if they were on the block together. And yeah, D wants him in the game. She's trying to convince the vets to also keep him in the game. So like, yeah, I would say you're right. Like, I think he is protected by the vets. I think he's protected by Lala and Taylor. But here's what's interesting though. Last night's episode, we also saw that there was a four-person alliance made. Finally, it's like took what this long between Mallory, Melody, Barrett, and Drew. I think that this is a really underrated group because I feel like wait, so everyone's always like competitions in Big Brother, like whatever. You need numbers. That's a four. That's a strong four, and like they are each other's numbers. And I think that anyone in that fourth, they're gonna put up Kamu, I think. So I think that's his only not blind spot, but I would say like potential of him going up would be with that group, I would say.
Yeah, and like I said, I think he knows where he's at, and he just
Yeah,
knows he has to pivot. So even if he isn't going to make it like to the very end of the game, I do think what he's doing right now is creating that longevity,
I agree.
allowing
I
him
think
to
it's
kind of
smart.
move past
Yeah,
that.
I agree.
So kind of just that's pretty much the episode recap right now.
Yeah.
And we can kind of just talk about the live feeds. So self-admittedly, I was away for the weekend, and I was like kind of drained from that, and I know you were away,
Yeah,
so
I
I didn't
guys, I
really
was
get a
in
chance
Amsterdam, so I was
to
trying to like
watch
watch
a lot of the live feeds, but the kind of key moment that kind of happened was this blow
the
up
blow up.
between Angela and Haley,
Yeah.
where Angela basically overcome with guilt kind of confesses to Haley, "Listen, like I voted to what well I
Get to
voted for
hear it.
Lyric,
Yeah.
basically. Like I switched the vote." So and that was kind of a shock to Haley. And Angela thought, she would be all accepting, all apologetic. And Haley's
Yeah.
like, "I just don't understand why you would do that to me." Like she
Right.
doesn't want to be, involved with that anymore. And same thing with Chuck. Like Chuck is just like, "Angela, what the heck? Like
Right.
why are you doing this to us? This is crazy." So later, what ends up happening is that Haley and Angela are having a conversation with a lot of people in a room, And Haley, well, sorry, Haley talks to D first and says that, oh yeah, Angela said you, like you also flipped the vote to Lyric. And now D is kind of like, well, I understand Angela's trying to save her game, but like, I don't know why she's blowing up this whole plan. Like, I was supposed to come clean to Camus so he could trust us still. And Angela kind of like blows up the whole kitchen here and completely turns things on his head. And then
Yeah.
she finally comes in, and Camus has this really funny thing where he's like, I know exactly what this conversation needs right now. Angela. And he goes and he gets Angela, brings her in, and it's just kind of this crazy like shouting match where like Angela's like, "How dare you, Haley? How
If
dare
you,
you
Haley.
put words in my mouth or whatever?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, here's the thing. Do I understand that it's like, yeah, it's not like it's not fun when someone lies about you, but then again, you signed up to play Big
Yeah, you
Brother.
did it to yourself.
And
But also, I want to say, I think Haley, like, didn't Haley also lie saying that D, like, I think she said in the DR that, like, oh, yeah, like, yeah, I lied about saying that D told me or
oh
whatever.
no, she did. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying
Oh,
Haley
yeah, yeah, yeah.
definitely
I
did
think that's so
lie,
funny because, like,
but
I would do the
Angela,
same. Like, yeah, your allies that your closest ally voted someone out that you were supposed to, like, want here. Like,
yeah.
it's,
And honestly, that's good for Haley for being able to read the room and
oh,
be
yeah,
like, well, if
100%.
Angela flipped, what are
Yeah.
the odds that Dee and Devin flipped? Like, probably
Well,
pretty good.
yeah,
So
like,
yeah, she threw it out there. She's like, oh yeah, Angela told me, quote unquote, D flipped too. And Dee's kind of like I said, she was upset. But Angela kind of went on this whole crazy tangent, like, how dare you lie about me or whatever. And I'm
yeah,
like, I
so
understand
funny.
like people when we play these games, and like I said, I've had to deal with this too when I play like Survivors or Big Brothers, like everyone agrees that like, oh, we can all lie, we can all backstab, we can all whatever, but I really don't feel like people fully like grasp the reality of like signing that
Yeah,
social
yeah,
contract.
yeah,
Like people, you're like I said, you might not lie, but people are going to lie about what you said, and that's kind of just the
right.
reality of the game. Whether or not you think that's fair, whether or not you think that's moral, I don't know. That's just Big Brother, and that's kind of the can of worms that you open here. So, honestly, pretty smart move on Haley to, gotta be honest, like just be able to throw it out there and gets D to confess it because D was not going to tell her either,
Yeah.
but D confirms it. So
I
anyway,
also, yeah, I
that
was
was
gonna
the
say,
biggest thing on the feeds, I think.
yeah, there was another thing I also was seeing on the feed, just like an overall. I mean, we still see that group of four, Melody, Mallory, Barra, Drew, like they're just linked together. But we see Taylor throwing out the vet's name, specifically D. She's now implementing for the next week. I think Taylor's getting a little bit of HOH-itis, which means that she's loves the power. She's starting to plan 2 weeks ahead, 3 weeks ahead. She's starting to get in her head, which isn't good for Big Brother, but she's doing it. And she's telling Lala like and some other people, I want to say maybe Kamu, I forget who, but she was saying like, like I think, D needs to go up, like D with Drew. Like she's now floating around that an icon needs to go up and the icon needs to be D or potentially Devin. Still not Angela yet, but I think out of the two. Interestingly enough, as that is happening, I don't know how D like knew this. Like she just I'm impressed with like the pulse she has on this house. She like felt it in her bones, I guess. She says to Angela, Taylor needs to go. Taylor needs to go now. And
Mhm.
it's like crazy, like as like you literally see like one room, like Taylor's saying D needs to go. D like she's starting to be an issue, and then D literally I don't know how she like just knew, but when she was like Taylor's vibes off, like we can't trust her. Like no, she's like she's smart. We need to get her out. Like she's starting. So I sense that there is a war brewing between D and Taylor. Who is going to come out on top? We'll find out, but I don't know. My money's on D. I think D's more socially well liked. I see that Melody and Mallory are now thinking maybe we should start working with the icons. We both like D, we both like Angela. Why aren't we working with them? B and
Mhm.
Drew and Barrett both like are with the icons. They want to keep Melody and Mallory. They're gonna get those two girls to be like, work with the icons, work with the icons. If you're working with us, you're working with the icons. So I think that the numbers are kind of going towards that side. I think Taylor is grasping for straws. I think she went down in a couple of ranks socially. Now that she was so close with Lala, she's really tied with Lala. Now she's associating herself with Kamu, which I don't know how much the other people want him to stay. And then, you know, who else is in the house? Who else is in the house for Taylor to be with? It's like I think that she was in a great position earlier, but I think she's going down. And there's a person that we keep forgetting, and that's Yosh. I think Yosh is in a great position, actually. I think he's in the position that Taylor wants to be in. He's assessing, he knows what's going on. But interestingly enough, D once again is saying Yosh also needs to go. She sees his position. She's like like she just sees red and sees a vision, and she's able to assess like who are the threats and who are the targets. Not physical threats, not social threats, but threats in a way of like, yeah, you're not going to get sent home. That's Yosh and Taylor right now, and D sees that. So I'd be interesting. I think that's starting to brew.
Yeah, I kind of feel like this is kind of going into like our predictions of what we're going
Yeah.
to see like in the coming weeks, and especially for tonight's episode on the elimination. But I feel
Yeah.
like this week is kind of a loading screen. Like this
Hmm.
week is just we're going to see what happens. This week is going to play out.
Yeah.
I guess going right into the predictions. I mean, I don't see a world right now, especially with the live feeds, because they like there's been like no strategy talk at
Yeah.
all, which is really
Like,
funny.
yeah.
Like Mallory has been playing this game called Airplane, and it was really funny because she started playing it with Barrett. And then like Drew and Melody came in, and now she has the whole entire house playing. Like nobody is really strategizing because I think it's pretty cut and dry at this point. It's
Yeah.
going to be Chuck or Haley. Whoever doesn't win that blockbuster is
Yeah.
probably going to go home. So I guess the more interesting case would maybe be potentially if Barrett won the blockbuster. But then again, Haley's probably just going to go anyway. So this week seems pretty cut
I
and
don't
dry.
know. There is a potential flip for Haley, and I don't know if it's happening. I really
Mhm.
don't know. Like I heard Dean and Angela talking about keeping Haley. I also heard Mallory wanting to keep Haley. So
Yeah,
that's
it's
something to look out for,
interesting
but we
because
don't know. Like,
she annoys the house guests, which is pretty funny from like an
yeah.
entertainment value, but also like Dee's thinking like that's a huge shield.
It's
Like
a shield
if
for her.
we
She's
take
smart.
her
She
if
knows
we
she needs
take her to
shields.
the jury,
Yeah.
she's going to be one of the first targets in the jury rather than the
100%.
icons. So
And also, who would vote for Haley in the end? Nobody in that house is vote. If I was D, I'm thinking, she's the person I want to sit next to. Are you kidding
yeah.
me? And
Mhm.
Haley's loyal. She's someone that's loyal. Like that, she's honest. I don't like to an extent. Like she really doesn't lie, and like I feel like she's really upfront. And that's an ally I think that D should want in this game. And I think that she can rebuild that. And she's trying to get Angela to rebuild that connection with Haley. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd be curious if Barrett wins, but I keep forgetting he's also in the house. So
Yeah, I keep
not
forgetting
gonna
Barrett's in
lie.
the house. Low key, I keep forgetting Yash is in the house. Although I
Same. I
do agree
literally
with
almost
you.
forgot about him too.
I do agree with you though that he is kind of like playing this like dark horse game where
He
he's just
is.
kind of there.
Like
And
he's
I definitely think, well, you could say floater maybe, but like I don't want to say it in a derogatory sense
no, and a good
because
that's a
it's like
strategy. That
he
is a
has a very
strategy.
positive vibe about him.
Yeah.
And hey, if he sneaks his way to the final five and then just wins those two comps and he gets to make it or whatever to the end,
Yeah, right.
and he's so likable, he just might auto win. And that
Yeah,
could also be a huge target on him. But pretty much, I guess that's really the predictions. Like I said, honestly, this week is pretty cut and dry. It's all going to depend on who wins this next
right.
HOH.
So
So, like,
who do you want to go home and who do you want to win next HOH?
yeah. So,
Who do you want out
honestly,
next?
just for the sake of the fact that he's done like absolutely nothing, at least as far as I can see in the live feeds I've seen in the episodes, like Chuck, like, dude,
Oh, dude,
the only
same.
thing
Yeah.
he's done is complain to Lala that she isn't playing the game, and she was like, "Well, who's on the block? Like, I don't know what to tell you."
Right.
So, like, Chuck, I'm sorry, like, you've done nothing. I really want to keep Haley around just for the sake of the
Same.
chaos
She's
in the
funny.
house.
Yeah.
The chaos in the house. And
She needs to
again, like I
stay.
said, it's advantageous for the same reasons why we're saying she's a massive target.
Right.
And if she gets carried to the jury, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see her as a jury vote because she's probably not going to care of the two people that are up there, but still it'll be an interesting thing. So
Yeah.
Haley, I would like to be saved. Chuck, I want to go. Barrett,
Same.
again, he's not really doing anything.
He's just
But
there.
still he's better than Chuck and he's better than probably Yash, or maybe they're tied. But regardless,
Yeah.
that's that. For HOH is interesting because like I said, I feel like anybody who wins it realistically besides Barrett, it would be an interesting HOH because
I
we
agree.
like
I agree.
Mallory or Melody, they could put up the icons.
Yeah.
Camus, same thing. He could put up the whoever survives this thing. He could put up Haley, target Haley or whatever. But really, I would say anyone but Barrett. That's pretty much who I'm gunning for this
That's fair.
HOH. I'd be happy with.
No,
What
I
about you?
agree with that. Yeah, I'd be excited to see. Yeah, honestly, same. Anybody, anybody
Yeah.
but Barrett. I mean, but also the thing is, like, maybe Barrett needs to step up his game. Like, who would he even put up, right? Like,
That's the thing, and that's the problem that we had. I was literally like saying for this wall comp, I'm like, I literally think anything would be interesting but Lala, and that's what happened. She won HOH, and
yeah,
this is kind of like a meh type of week. So, well, I guess like I said, it all depends on what we're gonna see. So, I guess that's pretty much all the pieces that we can
yeah,
really talk about. Oh, I guess the other thing is like the 1,000th episode is happening. I believe it's happening next week. I believe
yeah.
it's the Thursday. So going to be some crazy stuff with that. You know, check the CBS things because I believe you can vote for
They're
best
doing some
alliance,
votings. Yeah,
best quote, and best moment. So I'm sure they'll do like a
there's other
highlight
like
thing.
best winner, best
Yeah,
showmances.
exactly, exactly. So go have some fun with that. You know, put your opinions out there, see what they say. Although Chilltown wasn't on there, which is kind of I don't know why Chilltown's not on there, but that's an alliance, I would think. But
Damn.
anyway, with that, I guess I just want to end it here by just saying, who do you think is in the best position? And again, like you're kind of piggybacking off your question 2 weeks ago, who do you think is like most underrated right now, or like most like undercover like dark horse?
Yeah, I mean, I think best position, I think it's tough. Because I think no matter what, like I just think any person could be nominated. I don't think there's one person where like they're not going up. Like I don't think that's
Mhm.
happening right now. I'm gonna say D. I think D is in a really good position. Granted, she's a winner. She's like I'm amazed of how good she's in a position, but she's also someone that's like had power socially. I think that's important to note. She had power socially to flip the vote for Lyric to go. She's
Yep.
having power to like she's really good at like damage control. No one's really upset at D for lying. They're kind of just like, oh, whatever. Like they're more upset at Angela. And it's like D keeps positioning herself for like there's more targets in front of her. Like Angela blowing up is great for her game. Wanting Haley to stay is great for her game. Having Melody and Mallory now being her like it's just like she's doing like these little things. And I also think it's she's differentiating herself from Devon's. Like, I mean, I love Devon's for entertainment, but at the same time, I'm gonna say I'm bored right now. I'm
Mhm.
bored. I'm bored from it. It sounds like he wants to use the diamond power of Vito when he can, so he can not make jury. I don't think he wants to like make jury to like have like wait 6 weeks to see his kids. That's just the game I feel like he's playing right now. Where like I feel like D, like, yeah, I think she's in a really good place socially. I don't know about competition. She hasn't been that strong in them, but then again, that's good for her game. People won't see her. But I will say dark horse. I think Josh. I still think
Mhm.
Josh. He reminds me a lot of like I mean him and Ashley from last season played very different games. I think Ashley was more strategic on the live feeds, but he's still playing. He's strategic, and I think he's doing stuff in the game to better his position. Like you know, not in like alliances, but like he's good with everybody practically. Everybody likes him like on a social level. But I think his biggest obstacle is going to be solidifying people that are for him and only him. And I haven't seen that yet, but I can see him staying around for a long time. What about you, Peter?
Yeah, this might be boring, but it kind of fits the theme of the week. I completely agree with you on both.
Yeah.
D, I mean, you pretty much said it all.
If
The
it's
only
the theme
thing
for the week, I'm dead.
that's a theme for the week. I don't know what to say. It's kind of bored, but like D,
I'm
honestly,
dead.
is probably in the best spot. Even though
Yeah.
you would think she has this giant target on her, like you said, she's differentiating herself. No one really hates her for the whole lie that I think she was the one who came up with the vote
It
for one
was.
lyric,
It's
and
like crazy.
no one is saying it. No one is
No.
saying anything. So as much as I like would wish something would change, I really think she's in the best position aside
I
from,
agree.
someone random getting like this, just all of a sudden we need to target the vets and then just they throw all the vets up on the
Right.
block. And same thing, Yash. I mean, really, he's playing a very like low key undercover game, and I think the distinction between him and Lala is like what you were saying. Yash, I think, kind of knows what's going on, and
He
like I hate to
does.
say
He
that
has a good
about
read.
Lala, but
Yeah.
Lala's game, at least from the live feeds and from the whatever, like it seems like she's not really like in the game right now. Whereas Yash, although he doesn't really have like a coalition or he's in a couple of alliances, but he's not really like the prominent member making moves. He's there and like
Yeah.
he's ready to kind of take over when things get bad. So out of those two, that's it. Like I
Yeah,
said,
but
Loki
anything's
though, I told this Lewis off camera, but like I kind of like Camus at this point. I'm kind of rooting for him just because he had the guts to turn
yeah.
on
It
his
was a good
delivery.
move. It was a good
Yeah,
move.
he's showing allegiance to the house by saying, "Listen, you guys think I'm working with them. I am not. I am fine with getting
Yeah.
Haley or Chuck out. I will not use the veto." Honestly, his only downside is the fact that since he's won two competitions, almost three, because he almost won that HOH.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to make it very far past merge just because he's a comp beast. But
Merge.
then again, if the final whatever has Mallory, well, like what Mallory, Camus, D, like all these people who are compies, he might be able to blend in.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much
And I
all
also
the
say
time will
like
tell.
anything can happen too. I'm like thinking back to last season and like at that point I was like I thought Rachel was like such a good position. I mean, White Lotus happened. She got sent home.
Yeah.
I thought for the longest time Vince was winning the game. Literally the longest time I just thought I was like, "Oh, he's good with everybody. He's good with everybody." And so we started getting to the end of the game. I'm like, "He's burning all of his alliances. He's burning all of his people. No one's going to vote for him." So we really don't know at this point. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like anything can happen. And like there's Big Brother does dramatic twists like we saw with last season with White Locust. So the game can get flipped upside down. There's been seasons where two people get sent home in a day. Peter, I don't know if you know this, but like there was like Big Brother 24. They had half the house inside the house, half of the house outside the house. There was like 10 people left.
Oh
And like
wow.
two HOHs, like people on the block, two separate veto competitions. Like anything can happen in Big Brother. So
Yeah.
the
And
game can get flipped upside down and we'll
and at
see.
that point, it's kind of like it's more advantageous to be the person who's adaptable, like Yash,
Yes. Yes.
because in that
And calmer
scenario,
too. Yeah, calm
no
is like
matter
all
what
the time.
group you're in, like I said, no one's really targeting him. I even
Yeah,
as a pawn, like maybe he'd be put up as a pawn, but no one's really targeting him. So any crazy twist that I'm sure the fans would be like, "Why is this happening?" He would be able to survive. Whereas
I
somebody like
agree.
D and Devins and Angela, it might be like, "Well, wait, it's D and four other people in this group. Why don't we just target D and
Right.
finally get her out?"
Right.
So it's going to be interesting, and this is why we like Big Brother in this case because it's just so many different things can happen. Expect the unexpected. But
Exactly.
yeah, I know this one. I mean, we haven't been back too much, and it's ironic
I
too.
know.
I won't be here next week, so that's great. I'm missing
Oh
Ben's episode
no.
because next week I'll be in Hawaii, so that's great.
Damn.
But
Say hi to
I won't be
Lyric.
here. So again, we're taking a break. I don't think we've had two consecutive episodes. So, but
Not
when
yet.
I'm
But we
back, I
will. We
really
will after Peter gets back from Hawaii,
yeah.
guys.
I
We
don't
will be
have
back.
any other plans to be anywhere else. So
Neither do
I
I.
think
Well, it
yeah, I
will
think
be
that'll be
every
it.
week. And
And
yeah.
we'll finally have 2 weeks in a row. And yeah, thank you guys if you have been watching because we got
Yeah.
like almost 100 views on the first on the second one where we were together.
Yeah.
And that
You
was
guys
really
are real
cool.
ones.
I like that. So thanks. We'll keep it going.
Like,
If you
comment,
enjoyed.
subscribe, follow our handles, follow our Twitter,
Oh yeah, Twitter.
Peter's YouTube. You guys already know the drill. So we'll be posting, we'll be tweeting. We've been doing updates. I've been seeing Peter's updates on Twitter. I update on
Yeah.
Twitter. So make sure to follow our handles. We'll put them wherever you'll see it.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I mean, that's pretty much it for this one. So, thank you. I'm Peter Slattery. That's Louis
I'm
Levy.
Louis Levy.
Welcome, or I guess, thank you for watching On the Block, the show
On
we
the
talk about
block.
On the Block, show we talk about Big
Big brother.
Brother. And we'll catch you guys soon.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Bye.